Alright, so welcome back here everybody. And continuing where we left off in the last lesson where we made all of our connections for our pedals and made it so that it's connected to the CC head main here and everything moves correctly. What I want to go ahead and do now um, before our next lesson is I want to go ahead and set up all of our stretchy IK systems for our pedals. Now there are a couple ways that we can actually do this, and that'll tie into the next lesson. What I want to go ahead and do is basically make each individual pedal here stretchy. So let's go ahead and turn our back pedals off here real quick. Okay, and let's go ahead and bring in our stretchy IK system creator, and we'll just go ahead here and grab each individual IK real quick and just simply make them stretchy. And I'm just have the front pedals on because I want to make sure that I go ahead and select the correct IK systems. Um, I know I'm going to go ahead and actually be doing the backs as well, but I just want to make sure that I keep organized here and making um, the priority the front just so I know exactly what I'm doing. So let's go ahead and just try and select the rest of these, and you can see where my viewport where the IK system is or the indication is fairly small. A little bit hard to see in terms of how it's actually created and where it's placed, but that's okay. Just have to be careful and be mindful that you go ahead and actually select the right IKs there. Okay, so now that we have all of our front pedal IK stretches actually created here, let's go ahead and turn off our polygon geometry. Now we could use a parent constraint from this to this, but what will happen there is sometimes it will give us too many parent connections or too many parent constraints. So the easy way for us to go ahead and actually set this up is just select the stretchy IK that it selects or creates, select the corresponding CC, and then just hit P. And that way you have your stretchy IK set up already. So we just need to go ahead and work around and basically just parent them to the right connections there. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and work our way around the front pedal controls here, making sure that we just select the right and corresponding stretchy IK to the right and corresponding CC curve here. Okay, so we just need to go ahead and select this and this, and you can see where it would get confusing, and that's why we have two different control setups for the front and for the back. Even though the actual rig is pretty much the same, but we have two separate and two totally different shapes that'll signify what's what here, and it actually just makes it easier for us to go ahead and do this. Okay, so setting our IKs and stretches up for this, and just making sure that we get all these parent connections in here correctly. Okay, so now that they're all connected, let's just go ahead and turn back on our polygon geometry, and all we just need to go ahead and do is just select the tip control here and just make sure that it actually does stretch. And before I actually move on, I want to go ahead and rename this. Instead of the top, this actually should be tip, and I'm not sure how that happened, but I think I just probably named it a little bit wrong, so that's okay. Alright, so let's go ahead here and do the same thing for our back. Okay, just select the IK handles and just quickly make our stretch controls here. These will be a little bit easier since there aren't so many of them here. Just have to select the IK handles, go ahead and make it stretchy. And it really does pay off to go ahead and use scripts, because if we had to make all these stretchy IKs done through expression, this would take an excessive amount of time to go ahead and set all these stretchies up. So it's just much easier for me to go ahead and do it through through script rather than having to write all those expressions out. Okay, so now all we need to go ahead and do here is, whoops, and just making sure that we have all of our connections in here correct. Since we're not necessarily going to be selecting any of them or animating any of these actual groups and animation tabs, I'm just going to leave them the way they are, and I'll go ahead and group them here in a minute after I make my parent connections here. So we'll just go ahead and parent them. So select the stretchy IK, the corresponding CC, and hit P. Okay. And I'm just going to work my way through here. And just make sure that I get all the right ones that I want here. Okay. And this just takes a little bit of time to go ahead and keep your organization pretty much straight. So there we have all that set up. So let's go ahead and turn back on our polygon geometry here. Just select the back top and just make sure that that stretches, and that looks good. And we just want to make sure that we select the right IK handle there, and you can see that I actually forgot one IK handle there. So we'll just go ahead and do that last one real quick. Okay. Now we want to go ahead and make sure that they're all connected correctly. And yes, that looks fine. So we'll go ahead and just move back a step there. Okay. Go ahead and bring our outliner back here. And we'll just select the top stretchy IK, that group that it creates, the bottom, hit Control G to group them, and we will call this the petals IK stretch GRP. Okay, and then we'll shift select the head control, go ahead and parent it to that. So now if we go ahead and stretch this out, when our rig scales, it's going to scale correctly. Okay, so go ahead and just translate that back to the original base there. Go ahead and turn back on our front pedals here, and I want to make sure that we have the stretch for the front and for the back, and you can see that those are looking fine. Okay, so now what I want to go ahead and do is give us the ability in the next lesson, because we're going to be doing a lot of keyframe animation in the next lesson, or in the next video of this tutorial. I want to go ahead and add the attributes that the rest of the attributes that I'm going to need for our stretchy IKs to the CC flower head main here before I start doing that set driven key animation. So with that selected, we'll just come up here to modify, add attribute. We're just simply going to make one attribute, and then we'll color it in the channel box, and then everything underneath of it's going to signify what is going to be our stretchies here. So we can just simply call this anything that you would want. So if you want to say stretch indicator, okay, so we'll call this petals stretch, just so that we know what's going to be underneath of this. We can just take that blue, basically just delete it. We'll go ahead and add that. Okay, select the petal stretch, right click, and we'll just call this lock selected, this way that it will basically change the color for it here. Okay, and so now whenever we add our stretchy controls, they're going to be added underneath of the petal stretch here, so that we know exactly what's what. Okay, so we'll call this the front petal stretch, and we'll change green here to stretchy or non-stretchy. either one's fine. We'll go ahead and blue here to non-stretch. Okay, go ahead and add that. Go ahead and add our back pedal stretch. Just using the same naming convention, so we'll call this the stretchy. And the blue one here is our non-stretchy. Go ahead and add that. Just take a look at our channel box here. So now that those are going to be stretchy and non-stretchy, we're going to be able to set those up fairly quickly in the next lesson. As far as any other attributes here, we can probably, I know I said in an earlier lesson we don't necessarily need to add blend shapes. You can if you want. I'm not necessarily going to go ahead and do that, simply because you can pretty much just animate it and scale it down as you want to go ahead and close off or whatnot. I may eventually do that for the fully released rig, but I'm not going to go ahead and do that in this tutorial. So I think that'll cover it for this lesson. And in the next lesson, we'll go ahead and come back, and we will make all of the connections through the set-driven key system for our our front pedal tips and the rest of these attributes that are actually in our channel box. So come on back.